Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. I'm your host, Zoe. I'm a certified professional life coach, serial entrepreneur, verified YouTuber, and published author. On this podcast, you can expect actionable tips, reflections, and inspiration to live your best, most fulfilling life. So, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Note to Self. Today's Note to Self is going to be a little bit of story time that is going to be seeded with little activations and powerful hits of inspiration for you and your business and your endeavors, and just inspiring you about what's possible. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about how I became a certified life coach making multiple six figures. So, this has been a journey. First of all, I just want to outline that this has been a journey of the last 6 years for me, and I started out with no money. I started out in what I shared in a recent episode about how I leapt into entrepreneurship, where I just decided to buy a one-way ticket to Rome, quit my corporate job, and make it happen. And at that time, I was living in the city of Toronto, and I was basically living paycheck to paycheck because that city was quite pricey for me at that time. And I was basically living off of an entry level salary, which I believe was around $40,000 or $45,000 per year. And it just honestly wasn't enough for me in the life that I desired to live. And not even to mention that like 2 weeks vacation was something that I realized that I was not available for. Right? I just totally was not bought into that being okay or that being healthy or that aligning with my life, because I have always had a strong desire to see the world, to travel the world. And 2 weeks of vacation per year, no, thank you. That just, no, I'd rather have more vacation and more life than being at work. So I feel like those of you listening to this podcast might also be able to relate, or maybe you are already digital nomads or entrepreneurs who have made that leap and just desiring that next level of freedom. So today I specifically want to talk about how I became a certified life coach and how I scaled my business up to multiple six figures, just to give you, like I said, some activations and some insights. So yes, I started out my journey on basically being an entrepreneur. I'd say like my first stream of income that I created for myself was YouTube. Like that was sort of the gateway, if you will, where I started to make a little bit of money off of AdSense. And then I started to attract sponsors and affiliates and things like that. So that sort of opened up a gateway for me. And when I made the initial leap to Rome, I took on some freelance marketing clients. So that also opened up the ability to work online and sort of generate money. And so I wanted to preface this episode with those examples because I do believe that the foundational work in making money online and how I really opened myself up to the possibilities of being a life coach and working from my laptop anywhere in the world, right? Meeting with my clients over Zoom was because I opened up channels and belief systems around allowing money to flow to me in magical ways. Like I continuously worked on different ways to open myself up to more finances. And then I published my books, and then I was working with a publisher, and they were publishing my books. And then the sponsors on YouTube got bigger, and then I just had a desire to continuously expand. And then I found myself in Rome, and I was feeling really grateful for everything that I created around, let's say, YouTube. It got to the place where I was making around $10,000 per month, sometimes with sponsors, but it was sort of dependent on the sponsors. And AdSense definitely fluctuated a lot over those years. So sometimes I was making around $3,500 per month just off of AdSense. And then sometimes that would drop down to like $2,000. And it's just continued to sort of be like a roller coaster since then. And now that I'm not really contributing to my channel, that's definitely decreased quite a bit. But what I really observed in myself and through that experience on YouTube was that I didn't feel comfortable or safe with the inconsistency, is that I desired to actually be more in control of my business and my life. And my intention through starting a YouTube channel was to connect with people And I remember in like one of my first Q&As that I did, I said that I wanted to be a life coach, and I didn't fully, I don't know how that idea came to me. It was totally like divine, right? Is that I wanted to be a life coach. I always wanted to just help people understand their lives better and help them navigate their lives and help them reach their next level and new potentials. Like I always knew that that actually was what I wanted to do, but I felt like I needed to have a bit more life experience until I could call myself a coach or become certified. So, and observing sort of the inconsistency around YouTube and just sort of seeing how YouTube sort of feels like a bit of a boss to me. And I chose this life of freedom, and I'm continuously choosing a life of freedom. So anything that didn't really feel aligned in that, I knew I needed to pivot or transition or create a change. And so that's where I decided that, okay, you know what? I am going to get serious about becoming a life coach. I'm going to look out for a program. I'm going to get certified, and the next steps are going to happen for me. So, again, it gets to that place where you feel uncomfortable, as I've spoken into before about how to take a leap into entrepreneurship, is that you have to get to the place where you're a little bit sick and tired, you're a little bit exhausted, right? Feeling depleted and feeling like, I'm not in as much control. And yes, control is something we never really have. But what I mean by that is not feeling empowered about your ability to generate earnings and income and creating that for yourself. So it got to the point where I just felt like something's got to change and I'm ready to get serious about it. So I started to research different life coaching programs. And trust me, you guys, I did my research so you guys don't have to. IPEC, the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching, was the best life coaching program that I came across. And I booked many calls with them up front to like ask questions. You guys can book free like discovery or learning calls with people from IPEC. Let them know that I sent you. So I'll be leaving IPEC down below. You guys can check it out if being a life coach is something that is feeling exciting and expansive to you. So yeah, I decided to get serious about it, and I started to commit to that path. And it was interesting because as soon as I committed to that path, right, and chose to enter into the IPEC program, I had people who were watching me on YouTube start reaching out and asking me to coach them. And so I said yes. I let them know, of course, where I was at. I said, I'm working towards this certification is something I'm doing, but I would love to work with you and be of service in any way that I can. And it was such a beautiful thing for me because as soon as I saw myself as a coach, gave myself permission to see myself as a coach, I started to attract that reflection in the matrix, as in people reaching out to me and seeing me that way and desiring to work with me in that way. So that was really amazing. It really totally felt like a co-creation with source. And that's often what happens, right? Is when we decide to see ourselves differently, we receive that reflection, and it's so incredibly beautiful. And so I started to coach people. And as I was moving through the IPEC program too, they encourage you to coach, right? As in module one, which is in person, there's 3 in-person modules over 3 different weekends in 1 year, right? It's a very doable program for anyone who is, let's say, a parent or somebody who already has a full-time job and wants to learn some new skills. Like, it is very easy to work around your personal schedule with. And there was lots of like mothers and fathers in the program when I was in it. There was a lot of people who actually were working in corporate at the time. And they encourage you to coach. Like I said, they encourage you to coach right after module one, and you actually coach peers. So you gain more and more confidence, because that's what you need to practice as a coach. I found is just the comfort. Confidence is comfort, but the comfort in holding space for someone and not giving advice, because coaches don't give advice. They empower and they ask activating and empowering questions. And so that was the pathway forward for me, so that by the end of my certification through IPEC, I got 2 other additional certifications as well. I'm 3-time certified professional life coach. And I was like, I was so ready. I already had a full-time coaching business by the time that I was out of IPEC. Right? And I can say that IPEC is one of like, it's sort of between IPEC and ayahuasca and probably moving to Rome and quitting my corporate job and probably moving to Bali too. But there's like significant points in my life where I made a decision and I stuck to it and it changed everything. And IPEC was one of them. It's an incredible program and it gave me the confidence to just operate as my full authentic self. And I know that so many of you listening have seen that transformation in me, right? Who perhaps watched my YouTube channel way back when. I'm a much different version of myself. And I can tell you I'm a much more content version of myself. I'm a much more confident version of myself. And I just believe in my future more than ever before. And with IPEC, I feel like I've just got the tools to move through anything in my life and also then empower clients to move through anything in their life. So the confidence piece, the certification piece was huge in being able to scale my business and being able to work with clients comfortably, confidently, and being able to be a space holder. And in order then from working with one-on-one clients and then scaling. So I'll just give you a few little insights on how I scaled and how I do scale is creating digital courses and programs. So those of you who listen to this podcast know that I have multiple programs that I have promoted, and there's one that I'm going to be talking to you guys about today that's super exciting and available right now. But I've also partnered with other coaches such as Lo from the Lo and Zoe show to create online courses. And there's such power that comes in collaborating with another coach as well, because you bring two minds to it, two different journeys to it, and you can infuse that energy into a program. And so that was huge in scaling. It was like the decision to create online programs, and then also the decision to collaborate with other people to create online programs. So right now in my coaching business, there is the one-on-one coaching option. There are mastermind containers, as in group coaching containers that I have, and then there's also digital programs that I have myself and digital programs that I have with Lauren. And there are a couple other people that I'm presently working with, talking to behind the scenes to create more programs. So it's like this continuous expansion that happened. And this continuous expansion has happened because I've continuously leaned into it. I've always remained curious, right, about how do I actually expand this business? How do I grow? How do I be of more support and of greater service to others? Right. And seeing that, okay, well, I can help more people if I create a program about something that I've learned and something that has really empowered me and put that out into the world. I'm going to talk about the Digital Nomad Academy, which I officially have open right now, which I'll leave the link down below. If this subject matter is really exciting for you guys, I definitely recommend checking that out. But so, for example, something that I have come to learn over the last 6 years is becoming a digital nomad, is becoming a laptop entrepreneur, if you will, of scaling my business. And because this is something that I've done, I realized, you know what, I'm an expert at this. So I'm an expert at this. And I know those of you listening are experts as well. You're experts in something, but perhaps you have not fully identified it yet. That's something we actually do inside DNA. And so I identified I'm an expert in this. So I am going to package it and I'm going to offer it to I'm going to make it very affordable, and I'm going to create this opportunity to offer people what I know, right? I've been through a lot of trial and error in the last 6 years, and I've decided to package all of the success into something that can help and empower people to create this shift in 6 months that I created in 6 years, right? Or even beyond that, or just make the leap out of their corporate job into, let's say, being a online life coach, right? Everything is packaged into that program because that was the pathway forward that I knew would help me to help more people, that would allow me to be of service to more people, and that would actually allow me to align with my next level of income. So the wonderful thing about digital and online courses and that creation, which I also do cover in DNA, is that you can create these products that you create once and then you can repurpose over and over again, and they're evergreen and they support people and they help people to make transformations, you see. And if people enter into those programs on things like payment plans, you have reoccurring payments that are happening all the time. So your base income, right, those reoccurring payments starts to grow and grow and grow. And then before you know it, you've scaled into much larger monthly energetic minimums because you've set yourself up for success like that. So these types of structures, these types of conversations are things that we have inside the Digital Nomad Academy, which I would love to invite you guys into. It's only going to be something that I launch once a year. Okay, so it's a 6-month program, like I said, of everything that I've learned in the last 6 years of being a digital entrepreneur and scaling my business. So you're going to be, yeah, learning all the goods in there. And I highly, highly encourage you to sign up if this is resonating for you. This is your opportunity to take a leap and take things to the next level and just align yourself with the life that you desire because you're so incredibly worthy of it. And yeah, sending you so much love wherever you're at. Know that it's absolutely perfect, but know that if you're listening to this episode and the things that I've shared inspired you and activated things in you, know that that's available to you. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to Note to Self. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by rating and reviewing this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If my energy is resonating with you and you feel the call to work with me, there are an abundance of ways to do so. I offer one-to-one life coaching programs, mastermind containers, and DIY courses, all of which are available through my website, zoearielpoulsen.com. Until next time, take note of all the abundance that surrounds you as you make the most of this game called life.